Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I think I'm all set. All right, so welcome to the Awakening Women Collective podcast, a space for spacious, courageous, impact-driven women who are ready to stop shrinking, stop striving, and start living as their most empowered, expressed, and impactful version of themselves. I am your host, Dr. Helen Orombi. I'm a transformational coach, healer, and liberation guide, a former psychotherapist. And today's episode is a little different. I'm streaming it live and I'm recording it so that I can upload it later to the podcast and share more widely. So if you're joining me live, welcome. I am so glad you're here. If you're listening to the replay or catching this later on your YouTube or whatever podcast app you usually listen on, everything you need, so the links, the resources, the practices, they'll be added later in the description once I'm done and I've uploaded everything. Okay? So, this podcast, it isn't just about one thing, right? Because your power just doesn't live in one place. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you exiled to survive, right? And then integrating them back into wholeness of who you are. So whether it's money, confidence, health, creativity, relationships, each episode is a doorway into deeper embodiment of your highest potential, your divine purpose, and your lasting impact. All right. And so today we are walking through one of the most charged doors for women, which is money. But this isn't just about making more, it's about understanding why, even after all that mindset work, journaling, and spiritual practices, money still feels stuck, scarce, and heavy. And so, in this episode is about really understanding what's running the show underneath it all, which is your nervous system. Because when your body doesn't feel safe receiving, holding, or expanding, no amount of strategy, right, can override that. And so we're going to explore why our nervous system might associate money with danger, disconnection, or rejection, and how to begin gently rewiring that from the inside out. And I'm also going to share a powerful practice that's helped me and my clients, right, open up to more ease, more wealth, and more truth, not by pushing, but coming home to themselves. Okay? And so if this episode resonates with you, I have some goodies, some really good offerings, right? I have a guide, I have an on-demand masterclass, and a chance to work with me more deeply. All of that is coming your way, okay? But for now, I'm going to invite you to just take a deep breath in and exhale and just drop into your body. Let's begin not with information, but with a return to that woman you've always been. Let's enter this sacred space. And if you're somewhere where it's comfortable, I'm going to invite you to just close your eyes and allow this, what I'm about to share, to just wash over you. Okay? So, beloved woman, before we begin, let's enter this sacred space. I invite you to place your hand on your heart and take a nice deep breath in and just allow yourself to arrive in your body, to arrive in your breath, to arrive in this now. Allow the old stories to begin to soften. Allow the shame to dissolve. Let the nervous system, so long in vigilance begin to unwind. And let this episode be more than content. Let it be a return, a reclamation. See, you're not broken. You're not behind. You're not too much. You're a woman remembering that safety is not the absence of risk, it's the presence of power. And today we speak not just to our mind, but to our field, to our frequency, to the part of you that already knows. It is safe for me to expand. It is safe for me to be seen. It is safe for me to be wealthy. May every word you hear be a blessing. May every insight open a portal. May every truth call you home. And so it is, and so it shall be. And so I invite you to take one more deep breath in and exhale as you return to this space. Just know that everything you hear today isn't about fixing you. You're not broken. It is about liberating you. All right? Because if money still feels stuck, even after all the work you've done, there's nothing wrong with you. There's just something deeper going on. And so let's just name that, right? See, you're not repeating the same money patterns because you're lazy or ungrateful or you haven't done enough work. What's really happening is your nervous system is doing its job, keeping you inside your familiar range, right? You say you want more, but there's a part of you that doesn't feel safe having more. And it's because, and since we don't carry our beliefs in our minds, we carry our beliefs in our bodies, right? So let me say that again. There's a part of you that doesn't feel safe to have more. And that's because we don't carry our beliefs in our minds. We carry this in our body. And I call this the downside of wealth, right? Not because wealth is bad, but because your system might associate wealth with risk, loss, rejection, or shame. So let me give you some examples. You might notice, you might say you want more income, but part of you is afraid to outshine your family. Part of you might believe that ease means laziness. Part of you remembers how people judge wealthy women, and you don't want to be one of them. Drink some water. So it doesn't really matter how much coaching you've done. If your body equates success with danger, it'll always pull you back into the familiar. And this, it isn't just mindset work. This is nervous system work. This is identity work. And I know this not from training or theory. Yes, I've gotten some training, but I know it because I have lived it, right? And so let me share a deeper story. Let me just share something a little bit personal. Um, I was raised as a pastor's kid back in Uganda, Africa, and I grew up memorizing scriptures. And one of the verses I ever recited in front of a congregation was from Ecclesiastes. I can never say that right. And just the part that stayed in my nervous system is whoever loves money never has enough. The abundance of the rich permits them no sleep, right? So as a kid, about 11 or 12. I didn't analyze it. I just absorbed it, right? And what I internalized was this: having money is dangerous. The more you have, the more people will want from you. I internalized that abundance is stressful. Wealth takes away your peace. And that felt really true for that 11-year-old version of me. Though we are a family of five, there were often about 15 to 30 people living in our home, right? Relatives, church members, people in need. And so I learned really early that there's never going to be enough for me, right? That having more means giving it all away. If I receive, I owe. That rest and space must be earned. That was the beginning of my money story, but it didn't stop there. Later, as a teen, I went to boarding school, yes, like Harry Potter. Um, and for my O levels, I was brilliant. Like I was I was one of the best in my class. But during A levels, right before I sat for my A levels, I was caught sneaking out to talk to my boyfriend and subsequently publicly shamed. So every Friday, or at least that's how my nervous system remembers it. Because that's the other thing, right? What your nervous system remembers isn't necessarily the truth, but that's what I'm recounting is how my nervous system remembers it. So it felt like every Friday at assembly, the headmaster would use my name as a cautionary tale, right? So I was humiliated. So, of course, I failed my A levels and my family was disappointed. And so I decided to repeat my A levels. And it felt like my parents didn't give me enough support. Of course, my tuition was paid for. And I was living with a family friend. And again, the experience, what it felt like was so your dinner was always guaranteed because everybody worked. And so during the day, you kind of fended for yourself. And the things that I remember is surviving on boiled eggs and chapati. Oh, when I went to school, it was a cup of tea and half a cup of tea, actually, and half a samosa shared with one of my friends, right? That was lunch. That was normal, right? But I rose anyway. I passed. I actually did really, really well, and I earned a place at Makerere University, which is one of the top universities in Uganda. And then I moved to the US for graduate school. When I moved, I thought I had a scholarship waiting for me, but when I arrived, there was no scholarship, no housing, no job. And if you're an immigrant, you know, like when you first arrive, it's really hard. It's hard to find a job and all of that. So I cleaned houses, I babysat, I walked to my work back and forth, and then I went to school at night. I scrubbed floors, I served dinners. And this is what I quietly internalized. I'm an immigrant. I'm here to survive, not to thrive. I'm here to serve, not to shine. And even years later, when I built a thriving Etsy shop with thousands of sales and glowing reviews, I couldn't hold that success. It collapsed because a part of me, my nervous system, didn't believe I could be that woman who could have more. And even when I launched my coaching business and began to expand, my bank account was hacked. And at that moment, it brought up this. It brought up the fear, the instability, the belief that money is unsafe, that it will all disappear, that I couldn't trust the flow of life. So I'm sharing bits and pieces of my story. These aren't just random events. These are things that were coded in my nervous system, right? But there were also initiations. Each of those stories, they shaped my nervous system. Each one of them wired money to equal survival, shame, scarcity, survival. So even when I had all those credentials, even when I had value, even when I was ready, money still felt like a gatekeeper because I was still fighting an old imprint that said, you must hustle to be safe. You must give everything to be worthy. And you must never, never, ever need too much. But I know now, those are not truths. They were survival strategies. And I also know I'm not alone. You might not share my exact same story, right? Your story might be different, but maybe you know what it's like to fear ease, to associate visibility with risk. Yes, this is my first time streaming on YouTube, and I had to do a lot of EFT tapping to just calm my nervous system down because here I am stepping into visibility, right? So you might also associate guilt for wanting more, to feel your body contract every time you ask for what you're worth. And it would be amazing if those just lived in your head, but they don't. They live in your body. These are your imprints. Your nervous system remembers every single one of them, and it's going to work really hard to protect you, right? Until you witness all of your stories. Until you witness all of your stories, they're going to rule you. Until you release them, they're going to repeat. This is why your nervous system is the soil of your wealth identity. Because we don't rise just through strategy, we rise through remembrance. We rise through repatterning. We rise when we return to that little girl who was abandoned and tell her, you made it. You're all grown up now. You're safe now. You don't have to earn your worth anymore. You are already wealthy. It's now time to receive. So I want to share a quick practice, right? I created a masterclass and I did it live. And I guided some women through an experience to help them see how their nervous system is not allowing them to be rich, right? And one of the most powerful moments inside that experience was the visualization. And I want to share it with you right now. So I'm going to invite you, if it's comfortable, to take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Close your eyes if you're somewhere where you can't. Where you can. If you can't, just keep your eyes open. And imagine your future self. Maybe you, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. This future self is radiant, rested, well paid, and deeply fulfilled, right? Now imagine that future you. So she's doing the work that she loves. She's making the kind of money that she loves, right? Imagine that future you walks into your childhood home and tells your parents how much she earns, how little she works, and how much she's saved. And notice what just happened in your body. How did you react? What emotions came up for you? Was there guilt? Was there discomfort? Did you shrink? Did you find yourself wanting to explain or apologize? And notice I just asked you to think about it. I just asked you to visualize it, right? Whatever emotions, whatever thoughts came up, that's your nervous system speaking. That's where an old vow is still running the show. In a masterclass that I did, one woman shared after that visualization, she shared that she had saved a lot of money. And then she told her parents, and they said nothing, not a high five, not a word. And she felt it in her body, her nervous system felt it in her body. She hoped she'd be celebrated, but she wasn't. Another one said she felt like she had to prove a miracle, like she had to fight for her value, right? So, this is what the real work is. It's not necessarily about earning more yet. It starts with feeling safe enough to actually receive it, safe enough to be seen, safe enough to let it grow. So, if that visualization stirred something in you, I know it was really brief. If my story stirred something in you, right? I just want you to know you might be carrying stories in your body, and I created a next step for you. All right. So the first thing is a free transformational guide called Awakening the Wealth Worthy Woman Within You. Inside of it, I walk you through the 4 shifts we need to make to stop living in survival mode, to release inherited money fears, and step into authorship of our financial destiny. All right. So you can download it. It's going to be later. I'm going to upload it in the show notes. I think that's what it's called. And then the second invitation is remember the masterclass I talked about, right? Well, I have an on-demand version of it, right? And inside this masterclass, you are going to go through a little bit of the experience that I shared. So what you're going to get from this masterclass is a guided nervous system-based visualization. And I'll break down some of the vows, your hidden vows that are blocking your receiving. And then I'll guide you through an EFT tapping process to release some of that energy, some of that charge. And in the masterclass, I'll invite you to an opportunity to work even deeper. All right. So that process in the masterclass is one of the processes I use to help shift clients move out of survival mode and into embodied authorship of their wealth. Okay. But here's the thing, this on-demand version is only available until May 28th, and I am going to take it down, okay? I'm not just saying it, I'm actually going to take it down. So check back later and watch it, right? And if anything stirs up for you as you watch it, right? If your body is saying yes, if your body is saying this is your moment, I also share a next step for you, right? So you're going to find the links to the masterclass in the show notes, okay? And your last opportunity is after you've read the ebook or watch the masterclass or even just this podcast, if this stirs something inside of you, if a part of you is like, I am ready to stop hustling, I am ready to feel well paid, I'm ready to come home to myself, I'd love to support you personally and invite you to book a free 30-minute clarity call with me, right? Where we are going to explore your financial desires, the hidden patterns that may have been keeping you in survival mode. And then to see if working with me is the right fit, right? Because I might not be your cup of tea. That's fine. But if I am your cup of tea, I invite you to book that call. So we begin my Becoming a Wealth Worthy Woman program May 28th. Spots are very limited, and I'm not just saying that, right? Because I'm what they call a depth worker. I like to work with an intimate group of people, women, so that we can go deep. Right. Remember, I said my background is in psychotherapy, so I'm used to going deep. I'm used to excavating. I'm not afraid of people's stories because I did that for 14 years. So I invite you to schedule a call. And again, the link to do that is going to be in the show notes. Okay? So, beloved, see, your wealth is not just about money, it's about your power. It's about your ability to say yes and mean it. But more than that, it's about reclaiming the parts of you once exiled to survive. Because we do that. We shut down parts of us so that we can survive. It's about reclaiming the bold, the brilliant, the intuitive parts of you, the ones that got buried under performance pressure and proving, the ones still waiting for you to return them to wholeness. See, this work isn't just about making money. It's about becoming the woman who no longer uses money as the reason she waits. It's about becoming that woman who no longer uses money as an excuse not to have the experiences she really wants. It's about remembering that you're not merely here to earn a living. You're here to live fully, to embody your highest potential, purpose, and impact. You're here to live like a shooting star. Yes, briefly, but unforgettable. To streak across the sky of your life in full brilliance, not hiding, not hesitating, but fully seen, fully felt, and fully expressed. Let this be your moment to stop following somebody else's script and begin writing your own. Because you know what? You are worthy of more. You are enough. It is safe to receive, not through striving, but through embodiment, through integration, through wholeness. So, beloved, you've listened, you've breathed. Maybe you felt something stir. Let that stirring be honored. Let that remembrance take root. You are not meant to hustle for your wealth or worthiness. You're meant to relax into it. You're not meant to prove your power. You're meant to embody it. Let this moment be a turning point, not because you heard something new, but because something inside of you awoke in recognition. And now, as we close this space, may you walk taller. May you breathe deeply. May you relate to your desires with gentleness and joy. Your nervous system is no longer the gatekeeper of your limits. Let it become the guardian of your liberation. And so it is, and so it shall be. So, if this episode opens something for you, if you're ready to begin this next chapter from a place of safety, alignment, and sacred remembrance, the on-demand masterclass is waiting, but only until May 28th. So come walk through its doors before it closes. You're going to find all the links in the show notes. And thank you so much for listening and for becoming. Until next time, be bold, be well, be wealthy, be magnificent, be whole, and be like the comet, right? Because our time on Earth is finite, but let's make it unforgettable. Bye for now.